I don't know if you guys can hear that loud ass wind outside. My apologies. It is currently very windy in California, despite it being like 70 degrees here still. It's ridiculous. But on today's video, this is something I've been wanting to do for a long time, but I've been somewhat afraid to because I know it's going to stir up a lot of shit. And that's rank the Tony Hawk franchise from worst to best, my opinion. And just keep that in mind. This is my opinion. You don't have to agree with it, but if you do, great. If you don't, please don't. Please don't do this to me. That won't be fun. So anyway, I've been playing this franchise since I was 4 years old. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 was the very first video game I played. And from there on, it changed my life at the very young age of 4. So we're going to get into this video. I've played every single Tony Hawk game, but to keep this list simple, I'm only going to include console games. So you won't be seeing Motion in here. You won't be seeing American Skateland, which was a DS exclusive. You won't be seeing the Proving Ground port for the DS because it's pretty much American Skateland, just with a Proving Ground skin. So yeah, just gonna do all console versions. Keep it simple. Alright, so let's get into it. And please, don't give me shit. You might agree with some of these, but some of these might piss you off. And I'll try my best to explain why I'm placing them in the position that they're in. Alright, so number 15. Tony Hawk Shred. I think this is the worst Tony Hawk game. And I know what you're probably thinking. Well, Ride's worse. Pro Skater 5's worse. I don't think so. I'm sorry. I never liked Shred. I remember seeing Ride on commercials when I was like 9 years old. And I thought that was like the coolest shit. Once again, I was only 9, so I didn't know it was that bad. But the idea of like getting on a board controller just seemed like really interesting to me. So instead of getting Ride, I got Shred for $20, board and game included. Yeah, like I said, I was 9. I ended up getting the game like 3 years later, like well into Shred's lifespan. So I think Shred came out a year later. But I put it in my console, calibrated the board, and no, I did not like the game at all. One thing I'll give Ride over Shred is that there's a lot more like creativity that you had control over. You can't even create a fucking character in Shred. It's more like Downhill Jam, in the fact that you're on a fixed path and you're going down the levels, and the levels kind of suck too. And the only one that I could really remember was that theme park, and it's for the wrong reasons, it being like impossible to make that fucking gap. Yeah, I just did not like this game at all. I played it for about like 3 days because, like I said with Pro Skater 5 in my 1 and 2 review, I wanted to get like the most of my money. So I kind of tried to force myself playing. And actually, back when I was a gaming channel, The Baddest Gamer, I don't like those days, but I played Pro Skater 3, 2X, 1, and I actually fucking played Tony Hawk Shred. That was like back in the days when I was filming my TV and standing on the board with my fucking headset on, because I didn't have a microphone like this. I just used a gaming headset to like talk, do commentary, and trying to ride that board at the same time was just fucking impossible. But yeah, the game sucks. Number 14. Tony Hawk Ride. Pretty much same thing to be said with Shred. It's not very good. The only thing good I'll say about this game is that I like the idea. I feel like they went into it like with passion, but the execution just sucked. I will say this though, the fact that you can still create your own character, that right there alone puts it over Shred. I feel like you have a lot more freedom in this game, even though the control sucks and it's not really like worth it. You still have like freedom to do what you want. Even though some levels still have like a fixed path, you can at least do a little bit more stuff than in fucking Shred. That's pretty much all I'm going to say about Ride and Shred. Those are just better in the trash bin. Number 13, this is like the real entry list, because as much as like they do qualify as the main series, I really never considered Ride and Shred like real Tony Hawk games, just like test subjects that fucking failed terribly. So number 13, y'all know what it is. It's Pro Skater 5. Nobody really needs to say anything else. We all know like how bad Pro Skater 5 is. And like I said in my 1 and 2 review, that was the only game on the PS4 for 5 fucking years. Until Pro Skater 1 and 2 and Skater XL. So that's all we had for the PlayStation 4. And man, what a fucking disappointment. I remember getting this game, I think like 2 months after it came out on Black Friday for $25. And that was when the game was still going for $60, which it never should have. It never should have been that high. So, yeah, just playing it for the first time, I was trying to like ignore the criticism since I'm like such a big fan of the franchise. I didn't think it was gonna be that bad. And I will admit at first, like I refused to admit it was that bad. When I was playing it, like I was like, "Oh, this is fucking cool." You're just looking past all the good things and only focusing on the bad things. And then I grew the fuck up. And now I realize that this game's mostly bad. There's nothing good about it. The Create a Skater is the worst in the franchise, in my opinion. All you get is pre-made heads, and then you get fucking a full body. You don't even get it edit like individual clothing items like your shirt, your pants, your shoes, and then your skateboard. So that's it. And then there's only 7 levels like before the update. Actually I think it was 8. No, it was 7. The mountain, the downhill level, I think it takes place in the subway, and the western ones were in the patch. So yeah, you only get 7, and honestly, like 2 or 3 of those levels were complete rip-offs of other Tony Hawk levels. School 3 was basically School 2, just with like a quarter of the map missing, maybe even more. And then Bunker, I think that's what it's called. It was basically the warehouse with a few extra tunnels. I even go with saying that Rooftops was a rip-off of that Pro Skater 2X level. But even though I do prefer the Rooftops in Pro Skater 5. So yeah, the game was a glitchy mess. And other than that, you couldn't even create your, like, edit your own tricks. You couldn't even do fucking proper special moves. And that was the worst part. Messing up the special meter was easily the dumbest thing that they've done. And it made me miss Neversoft so much. So, yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. Number 12. Pro Skater HD. Pretty much everything that I had to say about 5 also, relates to Pro Skater HD. except Pro Skater HD gets bonus points for the fact that the graphics are a lot better than 5. That's another thing I forgot to mention in 5. The graphics were fucking awful, but at least in this game the graphics do look good. Even though some of the maps were like, I don't know, I don't really feel like they were remastered to the full potential. Even though it was for 360 and PS3, I still feel like they could have been a little bit better and like had more creativity into them. But the same applies with like the way it controls like the tricks and shit. You know, it just feels glitchy and bad. And let alone, like, there was fucking, I think, a combined 19 levels between Pro Skater 1 and 2. And they only picked 7. And 2 of those, no. I'm talking about downhill. And, actually, no. If the mall... I actually don't hate the mall. So just downhill. You could have easily replaced that with something better. Like... Fuck, you could have put New York in there. Or even downtown Minneapolis from Pro Skater 1. But downhill, playing that game, like as bad as it controls, trying to like navigate fucking downhill with the big drop mechanic, that was the worst. Alright, number 11. Downhill Jam. Now moving on from here, from Downhill Jam up, I like these games. I don't hate any of them. It's like they're okay to I love them. I don't hate any of these games going on. So Downhill Jam was, I think, the first Wii game, or the first Tony Hawk game on the Wii. And growing up, you know, being young and dumb, it was a good game. I liked it. Me and my brother had like pretty fun times playing this together. I really wasn't a fan of how you had to hold the Wii remote on the side and then turn it steering. So I prefer it on the PS2 if you ever decide to try it out. But the only thing that I don't like about this game is that there's no free skate, and like there's not really any other game modes except for the ones that they give you. Yeah, I didn't really like that. The maps are pretty fun. It controls fast, there's hand-to-hand combat. There's no other like real pro skaters in this game, I think, besides Tony Hawk. They're all fictional characters, and if I was including like handheld ports, I would easily put the DS version over the Wii and PS2 version, mainly because, I don't know, it was just more fun. And you got fucking Downhill from Pro Skater 1, which honestly plays really good on the DS. But for the Wii and PS2, I don't hate it, but I think it does deserve number 11. Number 10. This one might be a little bit controversial. You might hate me for this, but Project 8. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, and if you agree with me, then cool. But with Project 8, I loved it growing up. But the more that I played it, it was like, it's went from great to okay, just okay. The thing with this game is like it's the first game to like, I would say the first proper game to hit the 360 and PS3, mainly because American Wasteland was just pretty much ported from the original Xbox to the 360. But this one was like the first game like made it exclusively for the 360. We don't even talk about the PS2 and 360 original Xbox version. Just the 360 version is what we're focusing on because I don't want to go back to the PS2 version. So yeah, I do like the bales, mainly because I always thought they were so funny how they fucking just flop like halfway across the map just from a simple like manual fall, and you can control the bales too. I always thought that was cool. The one knock that I'll give is that the open world feels like really disconnected. You have points in that map where things kind of flow together, but then all of a sudden like it just changes so unnatural. how you just go from like this town to the fucking capital, and then all of a sudden you can just go from a amusement park to a concrete skate park. It just didn't feel like natural flowing. And like when you access a new area, it kind of glitches and lags a little bit because it's trying to reload the area. So that wasn't really that cool. But other than that, I still think it's a good game. I'll still play it like every once in a while, but it's just okay now. I loved it growing up, but now my opinion's definitely changed about it. Okay, so number 9. This one is going to piss a lot of people off. But I've actually seen some criticism on this game, like, now. Back then, like, this was everybody's favorite. And that's American Wasteland. From here on up, these are games I love. I love all these games. But it was so hard trying to pick one over the other. And American Wasteland is definitely considered by most the best of the franchise. And that's mainly because of like all the shit that you can do in this franchise. Fuck. My voice cracked. I'm getting into it now. So, yeah, mostly all the shit that you can do in this game. You know, you get off your board, you can even throw your board and just walk on foot. You can hit people with your board, and then you can even trade it in for a bike. They added a whole bunch of different shit, like wall runs, and then you could flip out, like some parkour shit. There's even Burt slides. I think Burt slides were introduced in this game, which we never really used. And it was the first game that was free roaming. I do the quotation marks because to connect like each map, you had to go through this long ass tunnel, and you can just feel the levels loading as you skate through it because like it'll start lagging and shit. So I use the term free roaming loosely. But yeah, it's a good game. I love American Wasteland. I just feel like there's a lot more better than this. So yeah, that's why I place it there. Number 8. Maybe if I was younger I would have put this a lot higher, but now, you know, playing like all of them, I could definitely understand why people place this so low, and that's the original Pro Skater. The very first game I ever played, the very first game to ever like leave an impact on me. Only that and the Grand Theft Auto franchise really like left an impact on me. So yeah, Pro Skater 1. It's what got me into skateboarding. It's what got me into punk rock. It's what got me into video games. So to say that this game didn't have an impact on my life, I would be totally lying. But being realistic, even though it's the first game, there was a lot of like limitations. One being there's no manuals, and it was a lot harder to link tricks together. And the second one being that you bail really easily. It's like the balancing on rails, like there wasn't like the little grind meter, and it was a lot more sensitive too. And like you can't like hit a trick late, and you know, in some Tony Hawk games, if your hand's not off the board, you can still land it like if the trick's almost finished. Not with this game. So pretty much no manuals and like falling pretty easily were like the biggest takeaways. But then again, the franchise just started, so they're only going to improve from here, which they definitely did. But I do love this game. I'll still play it like every once in a while, mainly because it's so short. It's only 5 challenges across like 8 levels, and playing it for so long, like I know where everything is. So I could beat the game in like 30 minutes. It's not a brag because I'm pretty sure everyone can. Some even faster. But the levels are really good. It's probably one of my favorite sets of levels. That's something I do want to talk about, but in a different video. I'm not going to get too like in depth on the levels and everything like that. Another video I have planned is the soundtracks, which is going to be even harder. But yeah, it was a fun game. I love it still to this day. Now, number 7. Underground 2. I know what you're probably thinking. You know, this is the best like feeling Tony Hawk game, and I don't disagree. I might disagree a little bit, but I do agree that this is like one of the best like controlling Tony Hawk games out there. You know, Underground 2 feels like the most complete. This was when we reached like jackass mode. You know, Bam Margera was always in the video games, 3 up, but this one's like where he has an influence on it, and I think that kind of somewhat takes away from like the story, because it feels more like an episode of like Viva La Bam or Jackass rather than, you know, a strictly Tony Hawk game. But I still enjoy it. I love this game growing up. Like, there's just so much you could do. I loved like all the unlockables. How there's like, I think there's like 16 levels in this game. You know, you got like your original ones, like the original Underground 2 levels, and then you got levels from Pro Skater 1, 2, and 3. So that was really nice. And then you have like the whole list of secret skaters. Like, you could play as the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 Tony Hawk. You could play as Shrek. You could play as like that little space monkey and an alien. It was all really cool. You could tag in this game. That's where this was like introduced. There's just a lot of like cool shit that you can do in this game. I don't think like I can remember like any new Tony Hawk game, or like the first new Tony Hawk game that I played besides this one. Because I remember like going to the store and getting this one. It was like the first one where, as a fan, I got to experience like the first new Tony Hawk game. Whereas like people with, you know, a longer history, they probably bought fucking 2 the opening day. Well, Underground 2's the first one that I was able to get in stores. It's a fun game. The soundtrack is one of my favorites, but most of the game soundtracks are one of my favorites. I really like the levels in this game too. A lot of people shit on the Pro Skater level, the one with like the spacecraft and then the Egyptian and hell. I kind of like that one actually. But anyway, moving up. It's actually the next day from when I originally started recording this, so yeah. Number 6. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, the newest one. Now, I have a whole almost 40-minute video talking about how great this game is. And now that it's settled, we've had it for almost half a year now. I still think it's a really great game, but I don't think it's the best game. I was actually going to place Underground 2 over this one, but the only thing that stopped me from doing that was the new updates that most people were complaining about. You know, like how you can only complete the story once with one character and that's it, or you can like finish the story with like 2 characters. They finally fixed that, and they did fix some other problems, so that kind of bumped it up. Yeah, if you want to hear my thoughts, just go and check out that video. Most of it still stands true, but now a little bit more because of the new update. So number 5, this is another pick that's probably going to piss a lot of people off. And honestly, like I said, these are all just my opinions, so don't take them seriously. Number 5 is Tony Hawk's Proving Ground. Okay. Before you start typing away on the keyboard, telling me that I should kill myself and that I'm a stupid piece of shit, hear me out. This was the last game by Neversoft. And some people complain that it's, very dull and boring, lifeless. But to me, it's like it feels the most real. It's like the most realistic Tony Hawk game. Like, yeah, you can still do dumb shit like nail the trick, nail the grab, and even nail the manual in this one. But in terms of like a genuine, real experience, I don't think we've had that in a story since Underground 1. I still place Underground 1's story above this one, but this is a really fucking good game with like all the shit that you can do. The game starts off with the career mode's based on like 3 different paths. You got the rigger mode, the career mode, and then the hardcore mode. You don't get to choose what path you take. You have to like complete everything. But it plays really well, and the map. This is like, it took them this long, but they finally made an open world map. Like, that feels good. Like, there is still like some passageways that you go through. That way it loads up like the other level, but even those are like crammed with stuff to skate that it really doesn't even feel like a passway just to load the next level. And it really doesn't lag. It's pretty good. I found myself, just skating around, doing crazy shit, just endlessly, not having to like get bored of the level because I could just automatically skate in the new one into like a new area, no problem. And there's a lot of extra shit in this. You got like a video mode. You can take photos. You can set the camera up yourself, like wherever you want it, and you do a trick and take the picture. And then they have a video editing system in this, and it's actually really good. I made some pretty like cool skate videos. That's how bored I got. Or, it's like you play a game for a long time and then it's like you just want to explore and do other things. I was indulged in that. But other than that, I love this game. It's like, in my opinion, the most underrated Tony Hawk game. And I think it gets a lot more hate than it really deserves. So that's why I'm putting it at number 5. I said in the Pro Skater 1 and 2 review that Proving Ground was in my top 5. And it's at number 5, so moving on. Number 4. Pro Skater 4. Now, I think from here on out, we can all agree that these games are like the best in the franchise. Like, I have a genuine love for like these next 4 entries. And this was the hardest thing to do, is that trying to like put one above the other. It wasn't easy, but I put number 4 at number 4. So it's like, what else can you say about this game that hasn't been said? It was the first Tony Hawk game to stray away from the 2-minute timer, complete like this amount of goals to unlock the next area, and kind of opted for a more free skate mode, and then you just go up to people and accept the challenge, and then you complete it that way. That was great. That was like the first game that broke away from the monotony, because I'm pretty sure it would have got stale if they continued to do that. The levels are really good. This was the first game where shit really got wild, and by that I mean like, this was the game that introduced spine transfers and introduced rail chain tricks and flatland tricks. So this was like the base setting for the future going up. for like Underground, Underground 2, American Wasteland to like just expand upon. This was like the first game with the controls that we know and love today. That good on Pro Skater 1 and 2 for bringing that back. That whole control scheme back. But yeah, it's a good game. It's like, I wish I could say more about it, but it's like, what else can you possibly say about it? Everybody knows it, everybody loves it. It's a classic for a reason. So, number 3. Got Pro Skater 2. Now, a lot of people would say that this is their favorite game in the franchise, and I can totally understand that. You know, Pro Skater 1 was just so, like, I guess, stripped down, and it was just so bare minimum. This was the game that introduced manuals, and that was a game changer over the first one. Being able to link tricks, not just by grind, but also by manual. The maps are the most... I would argue that the maps are the most iconic in this game alone. Everybody knows the maps in this game. Everybody loves the maps in this game. Some more than others in the game. I've seen a lot of people actually complain that they don't like Venice Beach. And personally, I think it's alright. But I think that's probably my least favorite behind the... Actually, the Bull Ring is my least favorite. But yeah, I'll place Venice over that one. Yeah, this one upgraded the goal list to 5 goals per level to 10, and instead of collecting tapes, you collect money. Which that was an interesting change, and I think that worked for the better, because it really like grew and expanded like what the game was from the first one. Yeah, there's nothing bad I could say about this game at all. Even the big drop mechanic, once you get used to it, it's not even that bad. Okay, so number 2. These next two I had like the most trouble trying to like rank. And I think like my number 1 pick just comes from, you know, personal bias. And just like on nostalgia, it alone. So number 2, Tony Hawk's Underground 1. You all know it. You all love it. Like literally, with the last 2 entries, what can you possibly say about this game that hasn't been said? It's the first game to introduce what would become the most important part of any story going up, and that's your skater. You got to create your own skater and then take him on a path as he, you know, rises up to fame and fortune and shit like that, starting from like the bottom, going up. It was the first like legit story in a Tony Hawk game, and it was done really well. Your friend Eric, who really isn't your friend, he's an asshole. You know, he turns his back on you, trying to get all the fame and fortune for himself. And eventually you land like this crazy ass trick, a McTwist over a helicopter, gapping onto another building. It's fucking wild. But besides like that, like the story feels so genuine. And I would say that, you know, people like to say that Underground 2 had like the most complete set of tricks, but I don't really see any difference between Underground 1 and then 2, besides the addition of wall slaps. I still don't know if Underground 1 introduced that or Underground 2 did that. I don't know, it's not important, but anyway. This was the first game that introduced getting off your board and walking as well, which was also revolutionary for the franchise, because every game up until Ride and beyond that wouldn't have that. The soundtrack's amazing. The levels are, you know, up there. for having like the best levels in the game. I even liked Hotter Than Hell, the Kiss level. I thought that was a really odd but fun level. Then you get to ride the cart on the dirt track and jump over the whole stadium. It's pretty cool. But yeah, it plays really well. It still holds up to this day. And it was also the first game that introduced Create a Trick. And man, that was... I don't even know like what to say about it. It's like I want to compliment it and then insult it at the same time. But it's still a good mode. It still holds up. So yeah. There's some things I've left out on like every single one of these. Like I haven't mentioned the trick, like the park creator, mainly because I don't know, I just left it out. But they're pretty much the same, you know, from Pro Skater 2 to Pro Skater 3 and 4 on the PS1 versions, pretty much the same. And then Pro Skater 3 all the way up to, I don't know if American Wasteland had a park editor, but they're pretty much the same. They're great. They're all great. Although I will give Pro Skater 1 plus 2 the edge just for all the crazy shit that you could do. So, yeah. Now my number one pick. I'm pretty sure you all seen this coming. If you've been with my channel since like the very beginning back in 2012, then you know what my favorite Tony Hawk game is, and that's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. Once again, I don't know what else can be said about this game that hasn't been said, but I'll just get into it a little bit. Not only is this my favorite Tony Hawk game, but this is still my favorite video game of all time. And it's been... shit. I think I was like 5 years old the first time I played this game. It's lasted 16 years at the top. You know, like, I just love everything about this game. While it may not have like some of the crazier shit, you know, like the later games introduced, there's still a lot of new features that, you know, only boosted the franchise up. Like, this is the first game that introduced double tap tricks, you know, like double kick flips, triple kick flips, 360 shove-its to 540 shove-its. And then it also introduced the revert, which allowed you to link vert tricks into a same combo. So that was definitely like a big step that improved the franchise going up. And even though I don't think so now, back then this game was like the best soundtrack in my opinion. I loved every song. This song, like from Pro Skater 1, like getting me into punk music, Pro Skater 3 got me into pretty much everything from like CKY to Alien Ant Farm to AFI. Like, this was the game that gave me my first exposure to AFI. And also the Ramones, which are all those bands I still hold somewhat close to my heart. Maybe not Alien Ant Farm as much, but all those other ones are really good. And also hip hop. That one song, If You Must. And then there's that one Exhibit song, Paparazzi. That was also a really good song. And I still think to this day, like, this is the best levels in a Tony Hawk game. Like, this is the best group of levels. You know, you might want to... You're probably going to argue that your favorite Tony Hawk game has the best levels. And that's totally fine. I totally understand that. But for me, the levels that make this game are the airport, the foundry, and Los Angeles. Also Canada. Those are just great levels, and I would fucking love to see them get remastered and somewhere down the line, especially the foundry. That would be visually stunning if they could do it like how they did the levels in 1 and 2. So yeah, it's like, I just love everything about this game. It just flows the smoothest to me. It's just the most fun. I get lost in this game just skating around. While it may not have like spine transfers and acid drops or getting off your board and everything like that, flatland tricks, there's still quite a bit of hidden combos in this game, and it's just 16 years later, it still holds, the top spot in my heart. Getting all sappy and emotional. My cat's trying to get into the room. But yeah, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3, without a question, my favorite in the franchise, and my favorite video game of all time. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this list. I'm sorry if I pissed you off. Like I said, this is all my opinion. Please don't hurt me or verbally slaughter me in the comment section. If you want, you could put your own list in the comment section or make your own video. I just thought it'd be fun to rank things I like. I plan on doing this with the Halloween franchise and a couple of different like bands that I like. Maybe like Blink-182's discography or Green Day, Metallica. I think it's just fun to like kind of put your brain to work and try to figure out what you prefer, from least to the best. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, give this video, comment, subscribe, like, whatever. I'm gonna try to get more active. I've been really lazy and really busy at the same time. Me and my band, we've been recording new music, and also just work, trying to get a new job. Currently, waiting on getting accepted into this apprenticeship program. So I've been pretty busy as of late. But anyway, thank you for watching this video. I put a lot of time and effort. I don't really care about getting views. I've never really cared about getting views. It's just, this is just something I like to do. While I may lack motivation sometimes, this is just something I've always liked doing. It's talking and creating. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Hit the subscribe if you want. Leave your thoughts on this video. And have a good one. Thank you.